Not a light by any stretch of the imagination, but
This is a presentation, rapid relocation in response to an active shooter. Okay, I'm Officer Babaoka. I work for the Los Angeles School Police. So basically, I work for your department. I'm not part of LATC or the sheriff. Okay, I've been doing this job for 26 years. I'm an officer for a reason. I tend to say things that I probably shouldn't sometimes, but I'm here to hopefully give you information on when an active shooter happens on your campus so you can make an informed decision. Okay, I can't tell you a training, he tells you, you do this and this and this, you'll be okay. I can only help you make the decision and more informed decisions, because an active shooter is going to be very evolving, and you're going to have to make decisions about what you're going to do. And this is going to be a little different. Usually it's the elementary schools that I've been going to and middle schools. You're going to have adult students, okay, but all the district rules are going to apply. But how you deal with it is going to be a little more different because you have adults that can make some choices on their own. All right, next slide.
I'm sorry. Why it's not moving? The next page. I'm sorry. Did I do?
Sometimes it's this.
Yeah. No, okay. Sharing, just give me a minute. And this is the, okay, maybe escape, okay. Sorry,
So,
this is the
like I
one.
said, I've been here for 26 years. I have no problem answering questions. I'll try to be as honest as I can. So go ahead and ask me anything. You can stop if you want. Just raise your hand. So kind of do my.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Slideshow
Okay,
from.
it's gonna be an hour now. It's gonna be a little longer.
Am I doing this one?
That's it. You got it.
There we go.
That's it?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, I'm gonna go back, yeah.
So,
Okay, now I need to share.
okay.
I am not doing.
This is the first time I'm doing it with Zoom.
Ah.
And usually the more bodies in the room I'm talking to. But, okay.
Okay,
we'll get to it.
share, and then I'm gonna do from
So,
beginning.
like I said, if any questions about police work, it doesn't have to be about active shooters, doesn't have to be about this topic. I'll try to be as
You got it.
honest as I
Oh,
can.
okay. All right, so well,
Okay.
okay.
So the important thing on this slide is all discussions regarding active shooter incidents and subsequent outcomes are intended as case studies and treated with the utmost respect for the victims. This is not a critique of actions or decisions of those involved. So we're going to learn from other people's decisions, so you can make a more informed decision. Okay, there's two videos that are played. The first video is very benign. It's two sergeants talking to you and what they expect you guys to do as staff on campus. The second one is put on by the LA Sheriffs. It's a little more graphic. It's about 9 minutes long. I'll let you know when that video is coming up. And if you feel like you don't want to watch it, feel free to step out. Just please come back in 9 minutes. Okay. So
Next page, okay.
So our objectives to identify steps to improve pre-incident preparation and threat assessment, identify pre-incident indicators of an active shooter incident, identify steps to escape, evade, or defend during an active shooter incident, expectation and law enforcement response during an active shooter incident, identify next steps to improve workplace safety and security. I know it's a little different because this is kind of like an open campus. Students come in and leave, where you have the elementary, they're a closed campus where there's one entrance and it's kind of monitored with a little ring, like a ring. Okay. But this is your school community, and what you do affects others in this. So some of the stuff we're going to go over is not going to apply because. All right, next.
Oh, okay. We are stuck in a slide one on Zoom. I'm. Okay. So you're stuck in the. Let me ask the people.
No question?
Do you guys see a different slide, or you guys are stuck in the first page?
Right now, we just see the owl.
We just see you now. We see the classroom.
Yeah. But when I do the presentation, did you see different slides as I'm moving along, or no?
No,
No, I want that.
no, stuck on slide 1.
Yeah, it's still stuck only on the first one.
Okay, now, okay, maybe then we do this way, maybe. Now, give me a minute. Okay, share.
I want to take the opportunity to remind those online to sign in. I put the sign-in sheet on the
Sure, so.
chat.
What about right now? Do you see different slides?
Yes.
You see everything? Now I'm moving on.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna move along. Okay, let me see. Okay. Does it change?
Yes.
Yes,
I didn't put the PowerPoint together.
Okay. Okay, now why is
I just
not,
went on what somebody else did. And then
No,
I
why
kinda
not
modified it myself.
why is not showing up there then?
F7.
Okay. What's up? I'm sorry.
That's fine.
What? Okay.
Do the
Double
duplicate.
duplicate, okay. F7, duplicate. Okay, all right, next.
Can you go back one?
I can't go.
You can minimize that. Yeah. The
Oh,
notes,
notes. How do I go?
put it in between. There you go.
Minimize, no,
Bring it down.
it's not minimizing.
moving.
Yeah, okay, so we saw here.
No, that's fine. It's not-
Okay.
I'm gonna read it.
Okay,
So,
I'm sorry.
no, okay, so
Okay.
we're doing this again. So one more.
Oh, next one, okay.
Can you put it in presentation mode though? We see his notes.
Oh, yeah, but if we do that, the presentation doesn't move along and
Okay.
that is why, yeah.
That's fine. This is basic knowledge for you guys. So
Okay.
if you want to read it instead of listen to me, that's fine. An active shooter involves one or more individuals armed with a firearm who has already shot or attempted to shoot someone, and at least one of the following factors applies. Continues to shoot others, actively seeks or attacks others, has access to additional victims. Usually here I ask, like the Virginia, the elementary school, when that student shot the teacher, would that be considered an active shooter incident at that time? And the answer is yes, because the last thing has access to additional victims. Until that teacher got all those students out of the classroom, he had access to those other victims. He didn't proceed, but at that time, it's an active shooter. Okay. So the next slide will be the nice video. So
Is
go
this-
ahead.
Is this a video?
Yeah.
Okay,
Nice.
okay, now I can, okay.
You guys can watch.
Oh,
Hi, my name is Sergeant Robert Kiros with the Los Angeles Police Department.
And I'm Sergeant Oscar Soto with the Los Angeles School Police Department.
In efforts of keeping our schools safe, the LAPD, in collaboration with the Los Angeles School Police Department, worked on creating this instructional video. In the case of an unfortunate event of an active shooter incident at a school, you will have multiple law enforcement officers along with fire department personnel responding to the incident. Officers will be responding in teams as they enter the school.
The #1 priority for the first responding law enforcement officers is to stop the violent threat and save lives. Your safety comes first, and we are committed to saving the lives of students, staff, and members of your school community.
One of the best ways for you to assist is to communicate the following pertinent information to the first responders if known. Number of suspects, location of suspects, example, science building, quad, main office, weapon type, gun, knife, rifle, description, clothing, shoes, hat, identity of the suspects if known, student, faculty member, or unknown.
This initial information is vital for first responders that arrive on scene to be able to move quickly throughout the campus and to save lives. Don't wait to be asked for the above information. Provide as much information to the officers that is known to you at the time. Time is of the essence. The average active shooter incident lasts between 5 and 8 minutes. For every minute an active shooter incident lasts, 1 to 4 people can lose their lives.
To expedite the mission of saving lives, be prepared to provide the following to officers: keys, key cards, access codes, school-based radios, school maps if available, code words if applicable.
School staff are expected to follow their individual safe school plan, account for your students and people around you, lock down in a safe location, silence your cell phones, and stay away from windows and doors. If you see officers at the scene of the incident, avoid calling 911 unless you have unique and pertinent information that needs to be relayed to the police. The 911 system will be overwhelmed with multiple calls from students, staff, parents, and community members.
Avoid posting anything about the incident on social media, as it could complicate an already chaotic situation. It's imperative that you follow the directions of the officers on scene to quickly resolve the situation. We could all agree that the best ways to save lives is to prevent these unfortunate tragedies from happening. Statistics have shown that many of these individuals involved in these mass violence incidents have displayed warning signs or precursor behaviors prior to committing these acts of violence.
The City of Los Angeles and the Los Angeles Unified School District have invested in resources specifically designed to identify and assist certain individuals who display these characteristics. Please don't ignore warnings such as threats, no matter how big or how small. Making threats is no joke. All threats are taken seriously and vetted for any possible follow-up. Social media postings that could be alarming, such as manifestos for an example. Reported information from students, and always remind staff and students that if you see something, say something.
The prevention component is the key to saving lives. Please feel free to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Thank you and be safe.
And the only thing, I don't disagree with them, but when they say, let us know where they're at, and they say, tell us where they're at, cafeteria, science building, most schools don't label their buildings with big letters. Okay? And the officers that are coming on the campus, more than likely have never been on the campus, much less likely that they've been on a school campus if it's LAPD or the sheriffs. So I've been telling staff to give geographical location. He's on the west side of the campus. Or if you have a classroom that has a big mural or something obvious that we can see, you could say the one with the big mural, the one with the, some schools have like pictures of famous people. Because if you go to Belmont and you say the gym, I guarantee you, if you haven't been on the campus, you will not find the gym. Okay, there's a building, like a 2-story building on the west side. And that building looks more like a gym than a classroom. Belmont was built on a hillside. They put the gym underneath. It's like the basement. Like I said, I worked there, and at night, and there were people coming for the nighttime basketball league, and they're walking from the other building. Where's the gym? If you don't know where it is, you go downstairs, and there's nothing big sign that says gym. So like I said, give geographic location, or if there is a big sign, you can do it. I know you have bungalows here, so if you tell me room 36, what that placard's about, maybe that big?
Yeah.
Okay, so here it might be not as bad, like at elementary school or middle school where they have bungalows. Those bungalows, the ones that are attached to each other, they're in order, like a 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, the next bungalow over may start at 20. So I don't know if that's here or not. I didn't check. So be careful. Remember this, the people coming on don't know your school like you do. Okay, next one. Okay, what is swatting? The action of making a prank call to emergency service in an attempt to dispatch large number of armed officers to target location, disrupt normal operation of the target location, damage reputation of the target location and police, waste time and resources for both police and target location. So what's been happening mostly in the high schools, kind of in the valley, and you've probably seen it with celebrities where somebody calls 911 and says there's a shooting. That's what they're starting to do at the high school. There's a shooting inside this classroom, there's somebody injured, and that gets a whole big response. Okay, you're gonna get everybody coming onto that campus. You're gonna get, if it's an LAPD is gonna respond deep. we're gonna come as we can, and you're gonna have a bunch of people running on with their guns drawn out to figure out what's going on. We're slowing down a little bit because it's happening so often. But that's what you're gonna get. The school has no clue what's going on. The first time they hear about it is when the officers are coming onto their campus. And principals are like, what? Yeah, so that's swatting. So next slide. Okay, is swatting illegal? Swatting is a crime under penal code, section 148.3, reporting of a false emergency. An emergency is defined as any condition that results in the response of emergency vehicles or aircraft, evacuation of any area, building, structure, or vehicle, activation of emergency alert system, can be charged as a felony. If convicted, suspects can be held responsible for financial cost of the response. Okay, next. Okay, best practice for staff on campus during responding incidents. Remain calm. The sudden police response can be overwhelming. Communication with the police, provide a campus status, nothing unusual, routine, or relay any possible concern. Communicate with staff, use school-based radios to obtain campus checks. There may be an emergency that the office is not aware of. Allow police to complete the campus checks. Call all post-emergency procedures per district policy. So basically, when the swatting happens, we're not just gonna come and say, okay, are you good? And then walk off campus. Unfortunately, the school's gonna remain on lockdown, and we're gonna walk through the campus and have the admin call each room and verify what is going on. You may get knocks on the door. We're probably gonna check all the exterior restrooms and make sure that there's nothing going on the campus. Okay. So lockdown review. Why do we initiate a lockdown? Does anybody know? I was told there's 2 reasons. Yes.
Nobody coming.
And when I tell you, you'll see. Okay, why do we initiate a lockdown? There's a perceived. Yeah, see. No, well, see, lockdown could be anything. And every lockdown is not an active shooter.
When it's a threat, a kid.
Well, there's reasons why it is, but the thing is there's a perceived threat on the perimeter of your campus, and we want to keep the kids safe and you safe, and there's a perceived threat on the campus that we want to keep you safe. Okay. There's an incident right now going up in the valley where LAPD was chasing someone. That person jumped over the fence, dropped something on the ground, and ran off. They're still looking for him. The object was a firearm. Okay, so that's a lockdown situation. Okay, but it's not an active shooter's incident. So all active shooters are lockdown situations, but not all lockdowns are active shooters. It could be LAPD has a high-risk traffic stop and they have their guns out on Washington. So that would probably initiate a lockdown to keep people out of harm's way. There could be some transit decided to jump the fence. Now we have to make sure that person is either off campus or not going to harm anyone. That goes on. Who can initiate a lockdown? Okay. A school-wide lockdown can only be initiated by the administration. That's district policy. But if you're walking about and you see that transient jump over the fence, is that something you perceive as a threat to your students and yourself? If you perceive it as a threat, you would call the office and say, hey, this person just jumped on the campus. And that might initiate a lockdown. Or you may see somebody walking down the street with a machete. Is that going to initiate a lockdown? In your mind, yes. Somebody walking down the street with a machete, that's not a safe thing. Your gates to walk on are wide open. They walk and turn in. That might initiate a lockdown. Okay. When do we lift the lockdown? Okay. When whatever perceived threat is deemed safe. And that's probably going to be by law enforcement, unless you're the person that saw the person, and then you look again, and oh no, that's not a machete. You know, it's something else that's benign. You could do that. Okay. What's going on during lockdown? Well, basically, law enforcement responds. You tell us what the perceived threat was, and we're going to figure out when it's safe. Is that person gone? is not around, or if it was LAP on a traffic stop, that truck stopped over, the guns are put away, and that truck's over, and you're just locked. The question here is, this is the key, is your door already locked? So how many people teach their classroom with their door closed and locked? That's what we recommend. I know it's a big problem, because if you're teaching, someone knocks on your door, you have to stop, open the door, so it stops instruction. I didn't design this PowerPoint because there's another way you can leave your classroom door in another couple slides down, and we'll get to it. But our recommendation is you teach your class with your door locked and closed. Yes.
Does this also extend to offices?
Like the main office is kind of hard because people are coming in and out. And elementary school, most elementary schools have a little buzzer that has a camera that kind of, so you don't have to get it out. But if you're in office, it may be, depending on how you want to configure it. If you have a window that you can see out and know who's coming in and things like that.
Okay, I just want, we'll always keep our doors open. That's the way that.
Yeah. This, like I said, I didn't design this PowerPoint.
No. I'm just saying, because you're telling that, and I don't know if you were here, but he was saying that the best thing to do is to.
Give me a few slides
Okay.
and I'll address that problem.
Okay,
Okay, that's why I said, I didn't develop this presentation because I want to put that slide that this question is coming from a little closer so I can address it, but it's
Okay.
down the road,
all right.
okay? So there's 5 stages an active shooter passes through before an attack. First stage is fantasy, so that they're thinking about it. So if elementary school and stuff, I said they do, they do drawings, they do art, they do journals. And if you're reading your journal, they're kind of fantasizing about the stuff, then you may start thinking about letting the PSWs in the school know about it. Okay. Second stage is planning. You guys may see that on their Chromebooks and stuff, if you look at what they're looking up online, they're looking up guns, they're looking up Columbine, they're looking up Sandy Hook, and they have no history things going on. The third stage is preparation, change of behavior, so they may become more withdrawn, more talkative, things like that. Do you guys have PSWs on campus here?
We do.
Okay, so if you have any questions about this, those are the people you need to talk to. I am not the expert in this. Okay. Fourth stage is the approach on the way to carry it out. So they've already gone through the first 2 stages. They have their plan, and now they're on the way to the location. And the 5th stage is they're at the location, and now they're going to start killing. They're going to, at the target site, start killing. So hopefully, most teachers may do some of this stuff already, catching the first and second stages. I think the more teachers engage students and make it and talk like that prevents that we never know about, because the active shooter is someone that's withdrawn and doesn't feel that there's anybody out there to help to figure things out. And most teachers are there and they're talking to their students. They give that outlet where they can feel comfortable talking. All right, next one. Okay, how many have heard live gunfire?
What?
Gunshot, somebody shooting a gun? Yeah. Okay, well, they computer generated that sound. So we're gonna kind of just keep pressing forward.
Oh, came forward, okay.
Yeah.
Are we not playing?
No.
Okay, all right.
Okay, never mind, just skip it.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, we're gonna hear?
Yeah, play.
Okay. Rifle. Are we good?
That's from the Boston Marathon.
Yes, that was from Buffalo.
Can I just hear that one again?
What's the marathon?
The IET, not the
So this is taken from the Boston Marathon.
Right.
This one?
Yeah, how, the ID.
This one, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so the next video is actually the LA Sheriff's video. So this is the one that's graphic. So if you actually want to leave the room, go ahead. So,
Graphic, okay.
9 minutes, come back.
Okay.
A morning that began like any other turned tragic today when an employee opened fire on his supervisor and fellow coworkers.
Students, parents, teachers are asking why today after a bloody rampage plunged this campus into tragedy.
Details are just coming in, but we're being told that a heavily armed gunman opened fire this evening at the mall food court behind me. There's no official word on any casualties yet, but one eyewitness reported seeing at least 6 people shot.
Active shooter, a gunman or gunmen killing or attempting to kill people in a confined, populated area.
You gotta get some sleep. You're looking like a vampire.
You sleep. You ain't got no babies at home keeping you up.
What the hell? Ah, Sim again.
We've tried. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to let you go.
Active shooter killings are a tragic, unpredictable reality, and one that's becoming more common.
Since 2006, the U.S. has averaged an active shooter event with 4 or more deaths every 2.9 months.
Even though the number of active shooter events has been increasing, your odds of being involved in one are still very slim. But just like fire drills and earthquake preparedness, making a plan in advance can make all the difference.
Yeah, but lizards live in tanks. I mean, it's probably fine.
If you do find yourself in the middle of a senseless attack, the why doesn't matter.
Hey. Hey, buddy.
Hang on, something's happening.
What matters is surviving.
On average, 20 mass shootings take place in the U.S. every year.
Killers usually choose their victims at random. They look for easy targets. So the harder you are to see or to hit, the safer you are. When an attack starts, if you can find a way out of the location, do so.
Get out.
If you stay calm and think clearly, even in the middle of a life and death event, you improve your chances of making it out. Visualize your movements in advance.
What are we gonna do?
Look at me, look at me. I can get us out. Stay behind me. Stay here.
Use cover, something that will stop a bullet, and concealment, something that at least keeps you out of sight.
Attention South LA units, code 3 response needed regarding a 245 DSV 417. This will be at the Town Center shopping mall. Suspects wearing a face mask, possible body armor.
Use any available means to get out, including emergency exits or windows. Most restaurants and retail locations will also have exits in the back, through kitchens or stock rooms. Even in the best cases, police are minutes, not seconds away. You must take action to protect yourself.
Okay. Everybody stay calm. It's probably just a drill.
No, go back, go back.
If you can help others without putting yourself in unnecessary danger,
It's gonna be okay.
do
It's gonna
so.
be okay. What's your name?
Lori.
Lori? It's gonna be okay.
If you can't move safely to an exit, get to a room or a confined area you can lock down. Then secure the location.
Secure your location.
Oh my God.
There's somebody shooting.
Everybody stay calm. Remember how we train. Everybody get in this corner, away from the windows. Get the emergency bag from my desk. Help her.
Drywall won't stop a bullet, but there are steps to take to stay safe. Lock or barricade the doors, turn off the lights, move away from any windows, and silence your cell phone.
The other door doesn't lock. Move desks or anything, just block it.
A modern emergency bag can include a first aid kit, gloves, emergency plans for the building, and casualty cards to alert first responders to any wounded victims.
Most active shooter situations are over in 10 to 15 minutes.
Attention Lakeway units, code 3 is needed, red 245 GSV 417. It's going to be at Alexandria College. Multiple victims down.
Law enforcement's first responsibility when entering an active shooter situation is to stop the suspect, not to render aid to the victims. Medical teams will enter the scene as soon as the suspect is no longer a threat or is confirmed in another location. Silence any cell phones and remain quiet. Do not alert the shooter to your presence.
Sheriff's Department, is there anyone inside?
Red card.
Just hang tight. We'll be back to get you.
Defend yourself.
If you cannot escape the location and you can't shelter in place, you may have to defend yourself as a last resort. Almost anything can be turned into an improvised weapon. Look for something that can disrupt the shooter's ability to see, breathe, or control their weapon. When law enforcement arrives, they are going to be in a heightened state of readiness and awareness, looking for any aggressive movements. So keep your hands visible and follow any commands you are given.
He's a shooter.
What happened? What happened?
Oh, it's just a shooter. I just saw one shooter.
Especially in developing situations, engaging law enforcement, running toward them, reaching for them, even to thank them, could put people at risk.
Surviving an active shooter.
Anybody injured?
For more information,
Thank you. Seriously.
Visit activeshooter.lasd.org.
So in there, they said cover and concealment. Okay, cover is something that you get behind it would stop whatever they're shooting. And if they're using rifles, nothing in your school is considered, I would consider cover. That rifle round's gonna go through whatever you're hiding behind. The issue be this, everybody calls this a bulletproof vest. It's bullet resistant. Okay, most handgun rounds they'll stop. The rifle round is going to go through the front panel, through me, and out the back. That's what I mean by stuff here at schools, especially the newer schools, is considered cover. It's concealment. You want it's hiding, so hopefully that person can't see you. Okay, what was the other thing?
What kind of rifle not?
An engine block. So if you're in the parking lot and you get behind your car and put the engine between you and whoever's shooting at you, that engine block will stop.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what I mean. It's what they call the vests that are made for us for rifle rounds. They're about 2 inches thick.
So basically, the best thing is just to break line of sight
Yeah.
and not try to hide behind something you think is sturdy.
Yeah, you know, if you think the file cabinet, unless you got it stuck with full of paper, that may, depending on which way it's going. So just consider anything in the school as concealment. Okay, that's why we want your doors locked. We're trying to give us time to get here. I looked up on the internet, LAPD has, it says a 5-minute ETA and an emergency response, but I don't know if that's from the start of the 911 call on the cell phone or from when the radio dispatches it to the car when they get here. Because if you call 911 on your cell phone, it goes to CHP. The CHP figures out what city you are in, and then it gets routed to that local jurisdiction. And then it gets, the dispatcher has to take all the information and then broadcast it to the appropriate running car. Okay, so that's why if you're here and it's a medical emergency, if you get to a landline, the landline is going to go to 911 and it's going to address the appropriate person and things like that. Your address is going to pop up. So yeah, that landline you call, whatever the address is here, that's what's going to pop up on the 911 operator line. Okay. So they even get mad at us when we use the radio. Can you call 911 for a medical emergency? Well, can you have the school call? Because when our dispatchers do it a while back, is they were sending the fire department to our dispatch center because that's where the landline number and address was showing up. So remember when it's kind of a loop to get back to you. Okay. So this is the slide I was talking about, addresses your issues. Okay, that's why I said I wish it was a little closer. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So why not keep your door closed and locked? That's what we recommend. Okay, we understand it's not conducive to the teaching condition. It interrupts your teaching, it disrupts it, and it slows everything down. Okay, your door can be what's considered locked open. Okay, so basically the locking mechanism in the door is engaged, so if it closes, the door is locked. So that's what it is. So like, I don't know if that door is not open. So you can have it propped open, and that's fine. But the locking mechanism should be already locked. So it means if the admin says lockdown, okay, and then it's not locked, what do you have to do? You have to go find your keys, right? Find your keys. You gotta figure out the keys. You gotta go outside the door. You gotta stick it in the door, and you gotta turn it. And when you're under stress, fine motor skills is the first thing you do. So putting that key in the door is gonna be tough. Okay, so that's why we really like it. You could leave it in the lock open position. Now, it doesn't have to be wide open like that. You could use, if you have a metal frame door, buy a magnet, put it in the door jamb, and it closes, and it's just anything to kind of leave it open. I've seen schools use, maybe their kids grew up, and in the beginning you have those things they call, I guess, anti-door pinch. So it goes on the door edge. It's usually a piece of foam. So the door closes, but it leaves a little gap, so the little ones can't pinch their fingers in the door. You can use those, they're like $5. If you want to get together and buy those foam pool noodles, cut them up to like 1 or 2 inch section, then slice it open, and then just put it on the door, and then close it. Cheap and effective. If you really want to spend money, you can look online, and there's products there that are designed to do that. There's double-sided tape, it's a little lever, it pulls in, it goes in between the door, costs about $9. Buy a bunch of pool noodles, cut it up for yourselves, and pass them on. So we can do that. Like I said, this is mainly done for secondary schools, elementary schools. You already have a closed campus. Most adult schools aren't closed because students have different times and stuff like that. So the parking lot, the main gate to come in, it is not a closed campus. So that's why it's probably more diligent for you to have an easy way to do it. Okay? Because don't forget, if it's in that position, you have to go outside into the hall, whatever, or wherever it is, look and close the door. Now here it's not as bad, but I tell teachers, that especially the elementary schools, is during a lockdown, yes, you're supposed to go out and lock the door. But before you go out and close the door, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to look for students, staff members that are close to your door to bring into your classroom and close the door. The lockdown doesn't mean if the student has a class 100 yards that way, that student has to go 100 yards that way. They're supposed to run into the first classroom or door that they get into and close. It's a funny thing when I tell the elementary school teachers, well, you know, that problem child, if that problem child in front of your door, you have to bring him into your class. That's what's supposed to happen. Okay. So any questions on that? Okay. Like I said, they're a little close together. We would have that situation. Next. Okay. We can almost skip this, but just in case you guys get into the other side of education. During lunch nutrition, where can the students and staff go for safety? So if the lockdown happens, well, I don't know if we used to have breaks where they go to the lunchroom. Do they know what to do when that happens? Where to go? Okay. Do your students know where to go? And do you have a safety? Let's say you're out and about on the campus, you're not in your classroom, do you know what rooms are open for you to safely get into? Like I said, this is stuff about making decisions and stuff you need to, and I say think about all the time, but you kind of need to think of them. Like if we go back to the video, that is made for when you are not a teacher on LAUSD campus, okay? Because you're not responsible for anybody else. You're responsible for yourself and your family. So when it says evade, run, get away, it's easy to do. Okay? When you're on campus as a teacher, you have, it's a little different because they're adults, but you still have a responsibility to your students. And that'll be addressed a little bit. Okay. Any questions about this? Oh, okay. Here's the question. Can you and the students leave the school active shooter on campus? And there's a bulletin on this. You all read, right? You don't have to write it down. If you picked up a sheet, when you came in, it's on there. LAUSD Bulletin 5469.2 addresses this. Can you go to the next one? So per the bulletin, you may leave the campus if it's the safest thing to do. So if your class is by this gate and you know the shooter is on the other end of the campus, can you get your students out the door and gone? And it's the safest thing to do, you may do so. after the fact, and when the attorney, the district people come to you and ask you, why did you leave? What's your answer gonna be?
It was the safest thing to do.
Safest thing to do. According to my sergeant, not this direct presentation, you take child abuse every year annually, and you answer all those questions?
Yeah.
Okay. There's gonna be something like this about active shooter. And I guarantee you this bulletin is gonna be on there, and your answer to that question is gonna be, it is the safest thing to do. I'm gonna ask you a question about child abuse. Can you report child abuse to me?
No.
Okay, and you all know that because you checked that box, and they're making you responsible, right? Right? You can't say, I didn't know anymore, because they got you on that test that you know. Okay, that's why I'm not a supervisor, because I kicked you back up. So that's why I gave you this information. Hopefully you never have to use this information. But you need to have it if something happens. Because if you don't know and you haven't thought about it, then you're gonna be in trouble. So next one. Okay. So rapid relocation consideration. So there's 3 things you have to consider when you're gonna relocate. It could be on campus, it could be off campus. Okay. Rapid relocation, immediate removal of students and from their lockdown location, classroom, library, cafeteria to a safe location. It could be on campus, it could be off-site assembly area. So you all read your safe school plan, right? Yes? Yeah. So if I asked you where your off-site reunion location would be, you would all know that.
Parking lot?
Yeah. And then there's an alternative site because there's 2 listed in the safe space. But anyway, so if you decide it's the safest thing to do to remove yourself and your students, you need to take these requirements into consideration. Okay, the administrative teacher may initiate a rapid relocation if it does not place students in initial danger. There are 3 requirements. 1 you have to meet before you move. And the other 2 you meet after you move. And like I said, this is the big one. And my pointer. Everybody or nobody. Okay. So if you're gonna move locations, it could be from this classroom to another classroom. Everybody in your control has to go with you. I don't know how, but if you're moving, everybody's going with you. You can't leave somebody behind. Okay. Like I said, so when you do move it, and the district asks, and you left somebody behind, what are they gonna say? You're gonna say, well, didn't you know you had everybody or nobody? Okay, because I have a question. Well, what did that person say? Okay, the legal team is gonna ask you, are you a doctor? Are you a nurse? Are you a police officer? How do you know this person was dead? You just left somebody there. When I say it, if it's obvious, it's obvious, but you have to make that decision. And the district is going to throw this policy in your face. That's why I'm not a good superintendent, but they're gonna put this policy in your face. So if you don't have the answers, like, his head was missing, something obvious, okay? And I know most teachers, they want to do the best for as most people as they can. And if it's somewhere where you know it's not safe and you can't take that one person for whatever reason, it's going to be your personal conscience in what you're going to do. But remember the district policy and how you're going to have to answer to that.
So if I have a person, I can assume that, but I'm not sure, that I should be staying with the person,
Yes.
and everybody stay with the person who is unconscious.
I know it's a little
Okay.
harder.
Okay.
But I'm not going to tell you that one adult runs out the class, will chase them and bring them back. That's unreasonable. Okay. If you're in elementary school and that little kid is trying to pull, yes, you have to do your best to try to keep them there. But you're in an adult school, I'm not going to say it's a little different, but you're going to say, hey, he's an adult. I kept who I can control. This person just ran out. The only thing I'm going to ask is, when everything's done, you're going to have to account for everybody that was in the class. so that we can figure out if anybody's missing. That they're not in the restroom leading to them. They're not. So I know that it's hard with adults because they kind of leave and come back to class, they go to the restroom, they come back, you know, say you need to take a hall pass or anything like that. But if you can, kind of keep track of that in your mind. So if the lockdown happens and it goes real sideways, you're going to have a roll book. And we're going to ask, well, how many students do you have at the start of the class and how many do you have now? And you say he went to the restroom, I don't know where he's at.
Can I ask, since we're in adult school, what if an adult just refuses it? I'm leaving, you can't stop me, I'm out of here. What?
That's what you're going, when the district says, why did this person leave?
Yeah.
He's an 18 and 21-year-old and he bolted. No, I don't want you to physically, unless you know something is, look, the shooter's right out the door and you know that, then you can't, then you can say, yes, but if it's locked down and they say, no, I'm gonna leave, I can do this, and they both, they're adults, I don't want you to get hurt, because that's what may happen if you physically try to stop somebody. Because then as a, this is, you know, even during lockdown, they may say, I need to go to my appointment, I need to go home, right? And do I want you physically to hold them back? No, like I said, an elementary school kid that's gonna vote because he doesn't know better or she doesn't know better, then yes, you probably need to try to wrangle that person because they don't know. We're assuming they're an adult in an adult school, they have to make choices. We would want them to stay and stay with you. Just make sure that the other students in the classroom, you told him, no, you can't leave, and he left on his own. And then the other students are gonna say, no. The teacher said, no, you can't leave. And the person said, F you, and walked out.
Okay, so we wouldn't be held responsible. Then
Just explain that.
Yeah, I just, okay.
But I mean, you kick them out, then it's a bit. Okay.
I'm sorry. I thought I heard you say unless the shooter is right outside.
Well, if you know, you hear bang, 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 and this person's not thinking straight, he's just panicking.
Yeah.
And freaking out.
And
And you could say, no, he's right there, it's kind of restraining. But that's because you know if he steps out that door, he's gonna die, he's gonna get shot, he's gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
But if that's not the case, and that's not your feeling, there's no danger for him at that immediate time, you don't have to hold him back. Okay? Because if that's your choice, but you may get hurt. And I'm not saying that's something you need to do. Okay? As long as you express to everybody in the classroom, no, you can't leave, and it's heard to everybody in the classroom, and the person says, no, I'm leaving, you don't have to physically restrain. Okay? They're adults. Okay, next. We're almost done. Any questions?
So back to that situation. If we say don't leave, and somebody says I'm leaving, it's also, it will call attention to this particular classroom.
Yes, it will.
If the shooter, not even if the shooter is right outside, if we're in their line of vision, sometimes it's just attention, oh, I'm gonna go and attack there, so would that not be then?
That's not advantageous for you? No.
Right, so, you know,
So you have to-
everybody tackle this person, don't let them
You
go.
have to make the decision, those are the decisions you have to make. That's why I said this is not a training. Because there's what ifs to everything.
Yeah.
It's being able to get information so that you can make an informed decision. And
I
then,
hate to be held, to be considered, you know, morbid, but, would we be held liable if the person says, I'm going, I'm an adult, I can leave, and we say, we're told you need to stay, but I can't keep you.
well, see, I wouldn't put that phrase in there. I would say, you can't leave. You're a student of the school and you can't leave.
Okay,
Okay, I'm telling you, you can't leave. Now, to decide on their own to leave,
okay.
hopefully that when the district lawyers get involved, they'll say, you have to make an effort to not make it, but don't say, well, I can't hold you here.
Okay.
You know, given that I'm telling me, just walk out the door, you know, you're teachers,
Right.
right? You can't leave.
Okay, that's it.
Okay?
Thank
You can't leave, you know, you don't have to stand on the door, go, no, you can't leave, you can't leave. Okay? But you do have to make an effort verbally and forcefully say, no, you're a student at this classroom, you can't leave. Okay? It's not in the greater good of everybody in this class for you to step out that door.
And then the transverse, the reverse of that is if then that particular room became the target, I told them to stay, and now we're the target. Do the lawyers say, she was told she had to stay? She
What
was
is,
told to stay.
yeah, what is that one, that bulletin say?
Everybody or nobody.
So that's part of the bulletin.
Awesome.
See, that
I mean,
bulletin
not
tells
awesome. I don't want it to happen.
No, I don't want it to happen.
I got it.
So, you know, one of the things is why we preach, keep your doors closed and locked.
Right.
Okay, because you have to go out and close the door and lock the door. Now, if you, like this is a joining class, it's not as bad as adult school, but you have adjoining classrooms. Your classroom doors are just like if your neighboring teacher keeps them wide open and doesn't pay attention. Your classroom doors are wide open. Because this one locks, but most schools' door, the interior doors are very easy to open back. So that's why it's a community. You're teaching all together. That's why hopefully everybody's on the same page. You know, it's a little different. The adult school is not the campus. I would prefer that door to be closed or ajar, so at least you have to open it, you know, before you see in. And basically, what we're doing is we're delaying whoever is trying to harm you and your students. And it's kind of a bad thing. If you're a teacher that keeps your doors locked and closed, what do we expect? Okay, they're looking for that easy target, that easy, I open the door, I walk in. Okay. They can't get into your room and you're nice and quiet, well, maybe they're not here, they go to the next class. And that's the bad sad thing, you kind of sending it to somebody else. But it's survival. Okay. And in Sandy Hook, the teacher did her best, made her best decision. She went into what I call the public student restroom. Okay, if you look at public student restroom, you cannot hold the door closed. You cannot lock that door from the inside. They're made that way because what? They don't want students to lock themselves in and barricade themselves in. So if that's the closest room and the safest room you run to, and you hunker down there and then you go, oh shit, that officer told me I can't. And you're there looking and there's no handles on the inside, right? Okay, now I need to move. And if you have students with you, we need to move when it's safe. And that's what we talk about. What do you need to think about in your head? Thought process. If that, for some reason, you ran through there, okay, you're there. Then you look for your next chance when it's safe to move to a safer location. That's what rapid relocation is for. Because some schools have those double doors in like the cafeteria, the gym. Well, if you don't have that Allen wrench or that special key, and it's in the unlocked position, you cannot lock that door. There's ways you can barricade it and hold it, but you cannot lock that door unless you have that special key. So are you in a safe location? So most schools have kids running to the cafeteria or the gym because that's the closest, and it holds a lot of students. But is that a safe location once you realize you cannot lock those doors inside, can't be out? So those are things you need to think about before it happens. Because when it's happening and you have to make all these decisions at once, you're probably going to end up with, there's things, it's a fight reflex, right? You ready, you're going to run. Okay. As teachers, unfortunately, when you're on the campus with students, you can't run very far because of the bulletin. Okay. The second is fight, and we'll go over that a little later. You're going to fight because that's your next choice. And then I call it unintentional choice. It's you freeze. Because you're overwhelmed with all the decisions you have to make at one time. All the what ifs are going through your head, and now you're like, what do I do? That's why I mean this is strategic, thinking about it a little bit. So, okay, so the most notable incidents in the last 10 years, since 2013, post Sandy Hook, there have been 1,054 incidents of gunfire on school ground. This has resulted in 346 deaths and over 747 injuries. 93% of the school shooters plan to attack. It's important to recognize the signs and get help. 4 out of 5 shooters, at least one person had knowledge of the attacker's intention. 2023, 29 incidents, 8 deaths, 29 injuries as of 3/6/23. And that's probably gone up by another what, 10.
In what, is that in all of the US?
The US, yes, this is what the US. Next one. Saugus High School shooting. November 14, 2019, 5 people were injured, 2 fatally in the shooting at the courtyard of Saugus High School. The shooter, a 16-year-old male, attempted suicide by shooting himself in the head. He was taken into custody and died the next day during hospitalization. The gun used was suspected to be by the police to be a ghost gun. The incident was over in 6 seconds and does not meet the definition of a mass shooting. I think a mass shooting is more person.
I'm sorry, mass shooting is what?
Mass shooting. Well, this incident at Saugus High School
Yes,
does not meet the definition of a mass shooting.
and you said mass shooting?
The mass shooting, I believe the definition is one more person.
Oh, 3 people.
No,
No,
so it's-
6 people.
5 people, so like 6. So,
Oh, good.
Oh,
Oh, I thought
two,
you said that.
pero-
All right.
okay. I think we threw this in here because the ghost gun. The police believe it was a ghost gun. A ghost gun is a gun that you buy parts on the internet. Those parts are not serialized.
Oh.
And so you put it together, and if you use it, it can't be traced back to any one person. Okay. Next. Uvalde, Texas, 5/24/2022, an 18-year-old suspect fatally shot 19 students, 2 teachers, and wounded 17 other people at Ross Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. Early in the day, the suspect shot his grandmother in the forehead at home, severely wounding her. Any questions about this? It's awful. Yeah. I don't know. Any questions? I mean, I'd say it's yeah.
Questions online, Ms. O?
I guess if the grandmother wasn't able to make a phone call.
No.
No, I think no questions.
So
Nobody bring-
I don't believe the inaction of the police, I don't think would happen here, just because it's all happened. We trained differently. We've gone from Columbine where you do the diamond formation, you make brother awful, now we're running in and trying to figure out where that person is and try to keep him there. But the one thing I did read in this report is the shooter probably got into the classroom through an unsecured door in that classroom. And almost every school in the district has one of these doors. It's a door that closes, but doesn't fully close. So if it's in the lock position, you close it, it's just a little jar, so the locking mechanism doesn't engage. And especially during the rain, the door swells up and doesn't close. So basically, the teachers knew about it, the maintenance people knew about it, and the administration knew about that door. It was like that. Okay. They do it. We do it at our station all the time, especially when it rains. We have a door that swells up and won't close properly, and we work around it. That's what they're doing. Like I said, I like pushing things up. Okay, so being that if your classroom door doesn't work properly, doesn't engage when it closes and lock, you need to shoot an email to your administrator, so you will have a little paper trail and say, my door doesn't lock properly because of this and this, it doesn't close all the way or whatever. Okay, so you notify someone. So now you put that responsibility to fix it on somebody else down the line. Now I've had questions on, well, how do I know it's the police at my door at the end of the lock? So here's my thing on that. It looks like this school is equipped with the brown phone. Every classroom should have a brown phone.
Yes.
So how many of you know your brown phone actually works? You pick it up and it'll call the office. Okay, so that's the next thing you need to check. Does that brown phone work? Okay. And does your PA system work? If those two things don't work, you need to let the administration know. Because when the lockdown's over, the first thing that's gonna happen is an administrator is gonna come on the PA system and let you know. The lockdown is over, school police or LAPD is gonna knock on your door, please open. If you're still not sure, don't open it. I will figure, or we will figure, we'll get frustrated and pissed off. But we'll figure a way to make you feel comfortable to open that door. Because that's what it should be. If you're not comfortable opening that door, don't open it, because you don't know what's going on. But like I said, we'll use the PA system. If that doesn't work, we're gonna use the brown phone. If you still don't believe it, we'll figure out if we can get a phone number. You call your cell phone. Okay, they have access to your district email, you know? We'll type it in there, hope your PA system works. Hey, check your email. It is. We will figure it out. But if you don't feel comfortable opening that door, because you don't think it's, you don't believe it's a police, don't open the door. Okay, some schools have the little observation windows or whatever, but some don't. And if you don't feel comfortable, that's how you feel. And I shouldn't be banging on a door, cursing you out to open the door. But I will have somebody in the office say, hey, room 36 won't open the door. Hey, can you help me? And then they start working on it. Okay, any questions about your vote?
Yes.
Oh.
Sorry. We don't have a PA system at Diane Watson.
We'll have a PA system?
No.
Noted.
So shoot an email to your administrator and they need to work on that.
I hear you, Gracie.
So that's the stuff that your administration know about. If your phones don't work, you don't have a PA system, how are they gonna work around that situation to do it?
Can I get a whistle at least?
I don't know who's getting on this is your whistle, but you get a whistle. Ask your admin.
We'll talk, Gracie. We're planning.
Any other one? Okay, next. So this says, has an active shooter incident happened in LAUSD? And the big answer is yes. Next one.
Oh.
Okay, 49th Street Elementary School. February 24th, 1984, a 28-year-old male fired 39 rounds from an AR-15 rifle and 18 rounds from 2 different shotguns into a crowd of approximately 100 students on the playground of the school, which just had dismissed for the day. The man fired the shots from his balcony, which overlooked the school from across the street. 2 were killed, 1 student, 1 adult, 12 were wounded, all students. So do you have any big buildings around you? So those things you may have to think about when the time comes. But it happens everywhere. Next. Okay, so in review, you have assess the situation. You ever hear bang, 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 and it start coming closer to you, active shooter. Okay. Lockdown, secure your location. If you are inside a room that cannot be locked, are you safe? So if you went to a classroom and you can't lock it, are you safe? You got to think about rapid relocation. Where else can I go? Rapid relocation. If it's safe, get away, plan ahead. So stuff you need to think about, where would you go? How would you get the students there? Okay. And then those two, well, the handout I gave you, you missed 2 things. Is when you leave the campus or when you go to another room on the campus, you need to notify your administrator by text, whatever, so they know where you're at. If you leave the campus, you have to do the same thing and notify the administrator. The second thing you need to do is you need to notify the police. Now you can call 911 if you wish, and you'll probably get the runaround because they're busy. Or there's a phone number on there to our dispatchers. It's a 213-625-6639 number. And those dispatchers should know you have an issue at the school you are from, because they dispatch this there and we have all kinds of. And what's that for is to know that where you're at how many students you have, a callback number, and you are to stay, if it's safe, stay there. And we'll send out an officer to figure out how we're gonna get you back to the school to reunite everybody. Okay, yes,
It seems like if we were to say at the end of the bungalow there and say, okay, it's safe for everybody to run out, it seems that they're going to run way down the
well,
street. down
this,
all over the place.
you are in a unique situation,
Yeah,
because you have adults.
yes,
This is made mainly for
yes,
secondary and elementary schools. So where you kind of have, you
yes,
know, you are supposed to keep control of the students.
yes.
So if you have, if the best safest thing for you to rapidly relocate off campus and your students decide to keep going further, just hopefully you know the names, because when it's over, we're gonna have to account for every student that was on this campus and figure out phone call, whatever, to figure out where they're at and if they're safe. Because if we have one student missing, we're gonna have to walk the whole campus, look in all the doors, look in all the restrooms, check all the cars out and figure out where that person is, because we have to account for everybody that was at school at the time it started. Okay, now, this is the bummer part, okay? This is the part, and it says, this is a little word, survive. Defend yourself. Are you mentally and physically ready? Okay, I'm not going to address physically ready. The more important thing, are you mentally ready? And this is the downer, because you saw in that film, right? Defend yourself. See a nice kind word, defend yourself, right? Defend yourself. Well, what are you actually doing when it comes down to that part? When you are defending yourself, you're there. This person is there in front of you. And you just figured he killed or tried to kill somebody before he got to you. What are you mentally prepared to do? Okay, in the film, you saw him use a little fire extinguisher, blow it in the face, he drops the gun, sheriff's running in, it's all over. Okay, like it said, 10 to 15 minutes for it to be over. It's gonna take 5 minutes for LATC to get there. That's not to where the actual incidents happen. That's to the physical evidence. That's probably to the driver. And that might not even be the 5 minutes from the first 911 call. Yes.
So say someone like my situation who's kind of sitting out in the open, no real places to hide, hiding places are flimsy at best. My only real option is just to fight back. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. That's what I said. Hopefully, you never have to make these decisions or whatever. But if you haven't thought about what you're going to do when it actually is in front of your face, now you have to go through all your options at that time. And why I'm saying this is that's mentally. And like I said, you saw that little film, you use the fire extinguisher, he drops it. Okay, this is why I get myself in trouble sometimes. If it was me in the film, that gentleman would not have hands to use. That means I would have taken that fire extinguisher and attempted to break both his hands. Because what was this person trying to do? He was trying to kill me. He's trying to kill me, he's trying to kill other people. Okay. Well, I'm not saying that's what you have to do. I'm saying you have to mentally think about what are you mentally prepared to do to survive.
So I
Would you be
I'm sorry.
would you be liable if you fought back and ended up, you know, killing the individual?
Like,
Self-defense.
so,
Yeah.
Self-defense.
so you know he's been shooting at other people. You heard bang, 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 and you see him with a gun.
What if they didn't fire, but they brandished a firearm?
Okay, same thing. As long as you could articulate what you saw and why you did it, you should be okay. Now, if you just see somebody walking up to you with a little batty or whatever, and you decide to walk on the side of his head, you may have a little problem. But if you could say, I saw in his hand, he had a knife. Because how many stabbings have been going on? Okay. You know, so that's one of the things. You're gonna have to articulate why you did what you did. I saw he had a knife, he was coming at me, I thought he was gonna stab and kill me. So I punched him as hard as I could and knocked him and he fell and hit his head and died. Well, you believe he was gonna try to kill you. And that's the true belief you have, then you should be okay. Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said about the fire extinguisher. I mean, the fact that he took it and sprayed it in his face, but you're saying you would have hit his hands?
Oh, that's environmentally.
I'm asking you.
Did whatever.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Mentally, that's what I prepared to do.
What hit his hands?
Hit his hand,
Okay,
bash his head in.
okay,
You know, I am not gonna let this person have a second chance to hurt me. And that's basically what I'm telling you.
okay, and as a police officer, you're saying that fire extinguisher, doing it into his face isn't enough to necessarily stop someone, that actually hitting them is a better thing to do with fire.
I'm not telling you it's a better thing to do. What I'm telling you is, if you feel all you can do is spray him in the face, and he drops the gun, and that's okay with as far as you want to go, that's where you can stop him.
Oh, that you would have continued.
But me,
Oh, absolutely.
that me,
Yeah,
my
continue.
decision is,
Yeah, oh,
you know, that's what, I'm not being mean, I'm not trying to throw anything. These are decisions that you're gonna have to make
Okay.
when it's in your face. And if you haven't thought about what you're gonna do, have you thought about what you have in your classroom to defend yourself? Okay? Most of the schools, the newer schools, the fire extinguishers are being removed because they have a suppression system, so that you don't have the PMs come in and try to clean up all that hazardous material from the fire extinguisher.
So I'm sorry, I should have reframed that. Your first action would have been to use it, your second
Use it,
action.
yeah, and
to
then what,
continue.
what,
Okay,
what,
I
I
understand.
wanna make sure this person doesn't have a second
Yeah,
chance.
absolutely.
I'm kind of mean that. And that's what I mean, this is not a kind subject. It doesn't leave you like, okay, now I go out and celebrate Cinco de Mayo, you know. So any other questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
So, when the police arrived, the lady, well, I guess the teacher told one of the students to take out the red card from
Yes.
the emergency.
That's something the county implemented. The district doesn't have that policy or have that in place. If your school wants to implement something, all it was is the card notifies the law enforcement that you have an injured person that needs help inside that classroom.
So I guess we need to have a red card in the emergency.
You don't have to. It's something that the county tried to implement at whatever place. The district doesn't do that at this time. So district policy doesn't have the red card or anything like that. They just have this. And basically, if you have an injured person in your classroom, use your brown phone or whatever phone, sometimes your phone, call the main office, and they will note it down, and we will get that information from them. But we don't have that red card in place at this time.
Okay.
There's too many different schools that do too many different things.
Thank you.
We used to use a roll sheet when we had different practices on campus.
Yeah.
So to me, and I still do it. But I still do it. If you have a roll sheet, you have all these students who are present that day because of the sign bill, then you can also put notes on that paper, where they are, why they went there, or they injured.
Yes.
That would have to be done. If that's something you're used to doing, more than likely, you will do that.
Yes.
So that's what I say. We don't have a card, but we do that.
Next slide. Almost done. Nobody ever trained us for this. We were just teachers doing what we did every day. That's from a faculty member, and it's on the Columbine Memorial in Littleton, Colorado. So no one teach you. You didn't go to teaching school, right? And this is not taught. Okay. Next. Courage is not living without fear. Courage is being scared to death and doing the right thing. Okay. Next. Any questions?
How do you gain skin hard enough to not get injured by a bullet? Working on it. Pretty sure.
Maybe though, Derek, you have that, I don't know, down and get into that.
There really aren't
office.
very many.
I
It's
don't
like a solid 4 seconds, and I'm a big target,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I saw it 4 seconds to get to some sort of safe place, and even then it's a pretty decent sight line. I can still get shot at
Right,
where I'm at, so.
yeah.
And unfortunately, if you read about what was it, in Europe, where that young kid killed, shot up the school, shot the school guard and shot everybody up.
Yeah.
Any questions about anything? And then that's it.
Thank you very
Only question?
Quick announcement before you let the folks go online. The next 2 weeks, there's there's a shelter in place and a lockdown drill planned. Mr. Washington and teams, they're working on that as we speak. Okay, so we'll definitely do some more review. Thank you, officer.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.